What's good, lads? So UFC 319 is about to go down. Obviously, it's a massively hyped event for all UFC fans. I'm incredibly excited. Yeah, I'm going to be breaking this card down, guys. I'm going to be leaving timestamps in the description. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. But yeah, let's get on to the very first fight of the card, which is Bryan Battle versus Nursulton Ruziboev. This is a pretty interesting random matchup, guys. Bryan Battle, obviously former welterweight. I imagine he's come up because he's been missing weight, but he's doing it against an opponent that I think is quite. Um, it's honestly like not the best because he's facing off against one of the biggest middleweights in terms of height, at least. Nursulton Ruziboev, 6'5". Did actually fight at welterweight once, crazily enough. It's kind of interesting. I think Bryan Battle is the favorite here, considering that he was on like a massive rise. Um, he was probably going to get a ranked opponent at welterweight if he stayed there. But yeah, I think he's a favorite purely because of that. And Sultan Ruziboev, I'm pretty sure he's also on a decent streak after that loss to Buckley. But I'm gonna go with Sultan Ruziboev here, dude. Bryan Battle is he's just a pocket boxer that like likes to clinch him up sometimes, especially against Randy Brown, where on the feet that wasn't looking so good for him. But I think Sultan Ruziboev, dude, he's just gonna be able to out muscle Bryan Battle in the clinch. He's the bigger guy, obviously. I like Sultan Ruziboev at middleweight. I don't know how Bryan Battle's gonna look. Obviously, lighter man skill, but 15-pound jump is very different to a 10-pound jump, in my opinion, especially when you're fighting off against a guy who's 6'5". So, yeah, dude, I think Sultan Ruziboev could get like a sub here based off grappling. He doesn't actually have the best grappling despite the OV, but I could see him manhandling Battle here, or I could see him clipping him just while Battle's going for those um dog boxing exchanges. So yeah, I don't know. Picking Battle here, you probably would want him to get a KO. I don't really see that. He's going to be having to wing over the top to touch Ruziboev's chin. I just don't see it, dude. I'm going to be picking Ruziboev here. I honestly would put money on this fight. I mean, I'm pretty sure Battle's a pretty big favorite. But yeah, let's move on, guys, to the next fight. Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose. Again, weight class changes. Edson Barboza is moving up from featherweight to fight Drakkar Klose, who is just a lightweight. Edson Barboza has had a pretty massive layoff. His last fight was against Lerone Murphy. Um, and yeah, it was kind of like a dogfight until Murphy was just able to finish him a bit later on in the fight. But I really like Barboza here, dude. He's way more skilled than Drakkar Klose, and there's going to be lighter man skill. Barboza has a chin. It's probably going to be better here at lightweight as well. And Klose, bro, he has like a massive slam knockdown. That's mainly what I know him for. He got in his last fight, he got absolutely brutalized by Joel Alvarez. Um, and apart from that, he's kind of just had like close fights against some other guys. Um, yeah, I think Edson Barboza is gonna absolutely school him at that, dude. We may even see like a brutal knockout or some shit from Barboza. Hopefully he retires on this card. Um, Huge spotlight. Hopefully he does that. And yeah, this it's at lightweight, and Barboza's pretty shredded too, dude. Another reason why I do like him at a higher weight class. So yeah, he should be able to school him. He's had close fights with Sadiq Yusuf, um, Lerone Murphy. That fight was really competitive all the way up until the end. Um, he didn't take the he ended up not getting that Steve Garcia fight, which was really good for him as well. So dude, I see Barboza getting this done, dude. I don't know, you can't pick closer. Yeah, on to the next. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. I honestly think this fight is a lot closer than people are giving it credit for. Um, Chase Hooper, he's been gooning this camp, dude. Fuck me. I'm rooting for Alexander Hernandez. I mean, I know people are on the Chase Hooper high train here, but honestly, bro, like, why are you saying that bullshit? Like, this is a man sport, dude. Like, we're getting in here to do the man dance, and this guy's talking about gooning all camp. Like, oh my fucking God. The West, dude. Jesus Christ. Society's fucked. But anyway, Alexander Nan is actually all right. I mean, he's a pretty good striker, has all right wrestling. Um, but it is pretty evident that he fades pretty early on in fights. Um, but Chase Hoop is a former featherweight dude, and his frame really isn't all too built for lightweight. And he's been facing off against like pretty much bums. Jim Miller's not as bummy as like a Clay Guida, but you know what I mean. Like I think Hernandez is a little bit of a step up, maybe not from Jim Miller, but he's definitely not a Clay Guida. Um, and I think there's some potential that he finishes Hooper in the first. I wouldn't be too surprised, but I have to go with Hooper here, dude. He's an actual rising prospect in the UFC, and yeah, he's probably just gonna sub Hernandez in the second round. I'd probably see that. Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't say some bullshit in his post-fight interview. People literally comparing this guy to like Charles Oliveira, dude. How he's like the next Charles, like fucking hell. Like, yeah, on to next. Back in the fucking kitchen. Gerald Meerschaert versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Guys, I'm going to be going with the underdog here. I'm going to be going with Gerald Meerschaert. Um, I I don't think many people are going to be picking him here, but ultimately this fight's not going to go the distance. Michal Oleksiejczuk's a guy with pretty big power, and Gerald Meerschaert's a guy who ultimately will just sub you before the end of before the fight goes to decision. But dude, the reason I'm going with Gerald Meerschaert here, dude, I honestly don't think. Obviously, Michal Oleksiejczuk's a guy who gets easily subbed, but if I look at his actual like wins, dude, well, let's look through this, right? Win against or loss against Caio Barajo by submission, bad submission defense. First round KO against Njokuani, hasn't aged all too well, and also Njokuani's a welterweight, so obviously Oleksiejczuk's power was going to translate there. Easy submission against Pereira, hasn't aged well at all. Yeah, and then easily subbed by Kevin Holland. I mean, dude, who if you're getting subbed by an armbar in 2025, I don't know what to tell you, dude. So yeah, but so Meerschaert could look to that. Shara Magomedov loss. It was he actually had an alright performance in that, but honestly, that hasn't even aged too well either. Shara Magomedov looked like a guy who Mikhail Oleksiejczuk should beat in his last outing. And Cedrico Dumas, dude, Cedrico Dumas doesn't even, he's not even a UFC fighter. He's more like, bro, he's more concerned with other aspects of life than fighting. You know what I mean? Like, trying not to get in fucking jail. But yeah, like, I'm really not impressed with the last few fights Oleksiejczuk's had, dude. And I think a lot of people are going to be picking him largely off the basis that he's now like a fighting nerd, and are just going to assume that his striking will have improved because of that. Dude, I don't give a fuck. This guy's not a real fighting nerd, right? Dude, just because he's like doing the stupid fucking memes with like Nina Drama, while they're like standing behind her while she tries to be like the rowboat guy or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. This guy's not a real fighting nerd. He joined there like what for a few months. That doesn't mean shit. If anything, it's like a distraction, like just an excuse for him to wear some fucking glasses. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not gonna be picking Mikhail Exotic in this fight. I think he's actually kind of overrated. Obviously, he's a density master, as Lucas Tracy likes to say, but dude, Gerald Meerschaert, I think he should get this done by sub. Um, and dude, his losses aren't even that bad. I mean, decision loss to Brad Tavares, that was he's Tavares is a mid fighter, but it was competitive. And you know, people forget, man, the Gerald Meerschaert's performance against Reina de made some people pick Bo Nickel over Reina de So, you know, I mean, he's not that bad of a striker. So yeah, dude, I'm gonna be going with Meerschaert here, maybe surviving a tough first round, but then ultimately getting the sub in second or third. So yeah, let's move on. King Green versus Diego Ferreira. Oh, Bobby Green, sorry. Fuck you for changing your name to that. I'm gonna be going with the obvious pick here, dude. Diego Ferreira. His win over Rebecca, which is his most impressive win, hasn't aged all too well. Um, Obviously, Rebecca got confusingly beaten against Duncan. This sport doesn't make any sense. But yeah, dude, King Green, obviously his chin is like non-existent at this point. I mean, yeah, this guy would get knocked out by like a fucking Tatsuro Taira jab, you know what I mean? Like Diego Ferreira should be able to just get this done. King Green, he still has the speed and all that. Like he's not washed in the sense of like how he fights, but he's washed very much so in the chin. This guy was getting dropped by Jim Miller multiple times. Like, I think Ferreira should just be able to get this done. I mean, let me actually check. Obviously, the Rebecca win is what we mainly know him for, but I mean, let's just check, dude. Loss against Dawson. Dawson is a legit guy. KO over Michael Johnson, that's aged well. Lost to Gamrot, can't blame him for that. Yeah, this guy has some KOs, you know what I mean? I just trust that he's able to get this done, dude. Um, Ferreira is also quite old though, so maybe there's a bit of concern there. But yeah, dude, Green gets like KO'd by Gustafsson wins at this point. So moving on to the main card, dude. We have Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Literally Demetrius Johnson's worst defense, or like least valuable defense, versus Pantoja's least valuable defense. Um, yeah, kind of interesting for that from that perspective. But Tim Elliott's incredibly washed, dude. I think he's like 38 at this point. At flyweight, that's pretty cooked. And I think his last fight was fucking ages ago. I mean, was that the Tagir fight? I'm pretty sure it was, right? Was that the Tagir? Oh no, Sumadaji. Holy shit, the Tagir fight was fucking. I'm not a casual, guys, trust me. Um, went over Sumadaji. That's actually all right. Sumadaji is like a decent piece him up guy, you know. People forget, man. He won against Charles Johnson. They robbed him, but you know, really close competitive fight against Mikhaev, where Mikhail was just able to get the sub out of nowhere. Yeah, I think he's obviously decent, but dude, with the massive layoff like that, and you're versing a guy like Kai Sakura, who's realistically like kind of supposed to be a bantamweight. The guy's pretty massive. He obviously fought as a bantamweight over in Ryzen. You can't trust Tim Elliott here, dude. He's at a massive disadvantage when it comes to just being in your prime. He's at a massive disadvantage when it comes to the striking, in my opinion. This guy's obviously like a tricky scrambler and stuff, but I don't know, man. I think Asakura should just be able to get this done via being in his prime, being way larger, and yeah, dude. Tim Elliott's has been ranked for far too long, so yeah. I'm gonna be going with the obvious choice. I did Kai Sakura. Would not be too surprised if Tim Elliott pulled it off though. But yeah. Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Dude, I'm gonna be picking Jared Cannonier to get a brutal knockout here, dude. I just have a really good feeling about it, you know. But if I'm actually gonna break the fight down, let's break it down. Jared Cannonier is obviously a long time middleweight fighter. He's kind of like a guy that just kind of swings for the fences. He's got decent striking, kind of technical, but yeah, he's able to like go tit for tat with guys like Baralho, Imavov. You know, he was winning that fucking Imavov fight, right? And he also likes to clinch him up sometimes, specifically with that Imavov fight. He's able to like stall it out and shit. So, and yeah, he does get pieced up on the feet, like against guys like Robert Whitaker, like high skilled fighters like that. And then Michael Venom Page, obviously a lot of people are going to be picking him for the lighter man skill. The fact that I don't think anyone can out tit for tat Michael Venom Page in the UFC, to be honest. Like, it doesn't fucking matter who the fuck you are. Ian Gary showed in his last performance that he is a really good striker. And yeah, you saw what Michael Page did to him. He made Kevin Holland look like an absolute bum on the feet. Yeah, dude, every single time this guy fights on the feet against someone, he just makes them look stupid. Shara Magomedov fight, we saw the lighter man skill there. And yeah, if Cannonier can't finish Page, I will say it will be a really like clear Page decision that's kind of uneventful. But I get the feeling that Cannonier is going to get it done, dude. Like, I think he's just going to grab a hold of Page at some point, probably with some clinch work, or maybe just randomly with like a massive overhand. I think he's just going to KO Page. I don't. Do you really think Page is going to end up getting ranked, what, number nine in the division? I don't really think so. Like, I don't think he can keep just getting these decisions done, dude. I think Cannon is going to be the guy to do it. Um, he has the power to do so. I think he's also going to be able to get a hold of Page for long enough. Maybe like an elbow would work here. Yeah, I think in the clinch is where this fight's going to be won. And yeah, brutal knockout for Jared Cannonier. Massive underdog here. I just have a feeling that, you know what I mean? But yeah, if it goes to decision, Page is obviously going to get the fight. But I just have a feeling. Let's see how it goes. But on to the next very very cool fight. I think it's gonna be well, I was gonna say I think it's gonna be a war, but Jeff Neal obviously has a tendency to stink him up sometimes. But I think Prates is probably gonna get this done, dude. I mean, Jeff Neal, obviously, he's like a very 50-50 fighter. One time he looks like he could like fucking destroy Tom Aspinall. Next minute he looks like he's fucking just I don't know, mob style love or some shit, like just clinching him up, you know what I mean? Um yeah, dude, like I think he's gonna struggle with the range here with Prates, because Prates does know how to use range. Obviously, Neal's fought some other rangy guys, but I don't think they know how to use the range as well as Prates. To be fair, Prates was getting pieced up early on in the fight against Trevin Giles, which is not a good look going into a Jeff Neal fight, who's basically like just a better version of that. But Prates kind of got a reality check in his last fight against Gary. I trust he should have studied up Jeff Neal's game here. And this fight was also scheduled before for 314. He's going to be prepared in another sense for um, like extra prepared because he was given a camp before for him. And Neal is just I just trust it. I don't think he can stand more wars, dude. This guy's been in quite a few wars. I mean, talk about fucking Windsor of Bilal, massive war against Shavkat. This guy's old, man. Like, I think Prates should just be able to get this done via the range. He should be able to clip Neal at this point. Prates has really weird power. Like, the guy's not really built like he should have all too much power, but yeah, dude, this guy's really fucking weird power. Just being able to like immediately put Ian Gary in a finishing sequence in round five when he's been losing the whole time. Like, yeah, I think Prates should just be able to get this done. It could be a war. It could be Neal fucking stinking it up the whole fight. But yeah, dude, I think Prates should be able to get this done. I also think like Jeff Neal, he kind of fights like a very conventional boxer, high and tight guard. Prates fucking knees to the body open, body shots. You know what I mean? He should be able to mix this up here. When Prates gets in a flow state, he gets in a fucking flow state, and you're kind of cooked. Ian Gary kind of prevented it, but I think Prates should be able to get in a flow state in this fight. Um, and yeah, he should be able to win this. So yeah, I'm going with him. But yeah, moving on, dude. By the way, yeah, Lauren Murphy's a pretty big underdog in this fight. And if you bet, bro, I don't know why Aaron Pico's such a big favorite here, dude. And you know what it is? I honestly get Bo Nickel vibes from this guy. Like, I don't know, the way he speaks, he's like an American wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, just all of a sudden he's getting these big spots on cards. And by the way, yeah, I think they've literally confirmed this is a title eliminator. Why is no one talking about that? You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. If we see, oh my God, man. Most I love you've absolutely like fumbled the fucking your title shot, dude. But yeah, I want to talk about that. Like, this should not be a fucking title shot. We need to speak up about this. We cannot let Aaron Pico or Lerone Murphy get this fucking next title shot, dude. So yeah, someone do something about it. But in terms of who wins this fight, brother, how are you gonna pick Aaron Pico to win this fight? I know this guy, obviously. I saw the countdown episode. He looked pretty fucking good on the pads. Dude, those are pads. They don't fucking hit back, all right? Also, on the fucking in Bellator, this guy wasn't even a top guy, dude. He was like I'm pretty sure he was like a 5 through 10 guy. He has losses. He wasn't even like undefeated. He was losing to like guys that like 38-year-old guys that would like come out the UFC, you know what I mean? Like just bums. How are you gonna pick him to beat Lerone Murphy? There's no logic. This guy's literally going from a massive layoff from when before he was like fighting cans, right? Bellator's pretty much like a regional thing, right? To then fighting Lerone Murphy, who's a proper UFC fighter, he was really well rounded. He used to be like a control wrestler, and now he's like shown pretty good striking against guys like Josh Emmett, Dan Ige. He got rocked in that fight, but anyway, like this guy's proper well-rounded. Like if you were to just give me like a well-rounded UFC fighter, just like decent in all aspects, kind of boring, I'd probably say Lauren Murphy. You know what I mean? He's pretty good everywhere. Aaron Pico isn't used to the UFC level. There's a reason guys have to go through like the ringer of opponents in the unranked level. Like for example, fucking William Gomez or you know what I mean? Like who's a bum, Melsig back this area, and like there's a reason people have to go through those levels. And if you're picking Aaron Pico here, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like I saw Hopper MMA, picked him purely because of power. Dude, Aaron Pico was knocking out like fucking guys like the you see at the local fucking bar, dude. Like literally guys that like pulled out of their friendly neighborhood barbecue or who were just spending time with their kids or something, dude. Like Laura Murphy is a proper UFC fighter. It's very fucking different. And this guy's had tough moments before. Dan Ige, he was able to survive that moment. I trust he should be able to survive Aaron Pico if he gets a big moment. There's no logic to picking Aaron Pico here. I think Laura Murphy's going to piece him up with kicks specifically. I think that's the weapon here. And he should. And I honestly think Laura Murphy's going to get a finish here. He could even like clinch him up with Aaron Pico. You know, Aaron Pico's an American wrestler. He's not an actual like MMA wrestler or anything. So yeah, I think Lauren Murphy's gonna absolutely school the fuck out of this guy. I don't know why the fuck there are people even picking Aaron Pico. He's gonna get fucking killed in there. So yeah, let's move on to the next guys. That's a fucking lock, by the way. Lauren Murphy, put some fucking money on it if you bet. But yeah, moving on to the big one, dude. Listen, man, I'm gonna look like such a dumbass. Thing is, I'm gonna look like a genius or a dumbass. Like, there's no way about it. Um, yeah, like 50% of the fan base is gonna look so stupid, but the other 50% gonna look great. But I'm gonna be siding with Dricus Du Plessis, dude. I think he's gonna become the middleweight GOAT after this fight, and but I think it's gonna be like pretty closely contested. Obviously, we have to talk about the first round here, dude. Chimaev obviously is a very, very first round heavy fighter. He's like best comparison I've seen is that he's the Mike Tyson of grappling. Very true. Um, yeah, it's literally just about if Dricus Du Plessis can survive the first round. But I think the fight goes a little bit deeper than that, dude, because I think there's honestly a decent chance that Chimaev may just go out there and have a more patient approach. And I really don't see that going well for him. But yeah, there's obviously the chance of that, which puts a little bit of confidence in me going with Dricus anyway. But then let's say Chimaev goes out there with his normal sprinting style. That's probably his best way to win, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Obviously, Habib thinks he should strike with Du Plessis. Bad idea, in my opinion. But yeah, dude, Khamzat Chimaev, he's perfected that method. I mean, he's able to just completely ragdoll anyone. I think it just has to be like anyone at this point. I mean, he was able to do it to Usman. That's fucking something else. Robert Whitaker, who had so much time to prepare for Khamzat Chimaev, was still ragdolled. Like, you can say what you want about the actual submission, but he was getting ragdolled, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Dricus Du Plessis will get fucking mauled in the first. It's gonna be a rough time, I think, if Chimaev goes out there with the sprinting style, obviously. So, yeah, it's gonna be rough. There's a good chance he gets subbed, and yeah. But the thing is, dude, if he survives that, his chances just skyrocket because I really do trust Dricus Du Plessis on the feet at this point. I mean, he was able to literally piece up Sean Strickland for 5 whole rounds. The fight against Izzy, I think he was winning, all the way up to the finish. I think he was winning. He was literally winning on the feet against Izzy. Um, Not as big of an accomplishment as it sounds, but like I think this guy's proper skill on the feet, dude. And people love to talk about how he's goofy, bro. Honestly, he is one of the best middleweight strikers in my opinion. Just straight up. No goofy bullshit. Like he straight up is one of the best middleweight strikers. I think he's better than Izzy. He's obviously better than Strickland. He's one of the best middleweight strikers, straight up. So yeah, for that reason, I just think that he should be able to bank the rounds. Obviously, he is quite open though, which is why I could see Chimaev cracking him at some point in those last three. I could, but yeah, dude. I think Dricus would just win a decision if it keeps going. But here's where it gets interesting, dude. There's honestly a good chance the fight ends in a draw if Chimaev was to catch Dricus and take one of those later rounds, which is why I'm a bit more tempted to go with Chimaev here, but I just trust that Dricus is going to piece him up, and he could honestly get a finish later on as well. I mean, obviously he always looks tired in the later rounds, but he's just able to. We know he's able to push through it at this point. Chimaev, he's never actually been 5 rounds, so yeah, it's literally just a factor of whether or not you think Dricus gets finished in the first. I trust he's not. Obviously, he got put in those positions against Derek Brunson and stuff. He obviously would have improved from there. Yeah, dude. I mean, there's not much to break down here. You kind of just have to talk about whether or not you think he survives it. But I honestly think there is a good chance that Chimaev goes with a more patient approach here, which is why I have a bit more confidence in Du Plessis as well. Because, dude, let me tell you, if Chimaev changes up the style, it's not going to be a pretty night for him. I mean, because, dude, you really can just go. He really can just do that in the first. He can't just start doing that in the second when they're both already like sweating and stuff, right? Because obviously it's just more slippery and hard to get that style going and get a sub in, you know. So yeah, I think Drake is gonna take it. You're either gonna look really stupid or really smart, but yeah, like I think Chimaev's only way to win this is a first round sub, in my opinion. I think if it goes past the first, it's a very clear fight for Du Plessis. I think he's way more skilled on the feet. He's obviously open, which could cause him problems, but yeah, dude, if it goes past the first, it's Du Plessis' fight. And there's a chance Chimaev doesn't finish Dricus. There's also a chance that he doesn't even go for that style, in which case I think he'd just get pieced up and finished. So yeah, I have to go with Dricus here. Kind of confidently too. I mean, there's obviously the chance of that Chimaev sub, but yeah, man. So I'll be going with Dricus here. Really excited for this fight, obviously. This is going to be like a crescendo of a fight, you know, massive moment after the first round if it goes past that. Yeah, man. I'm just excited for this fight with you guys. Um, yeah, but yeah, that's it for the breakdown, guys. I'm going to be posting a recap to the press conference as well. I will say a prediction for the press conference. They're going to be talking about um, the fucking Paramount deal, all right? And I feel like it's kind of going to ruin the press conference because these reporters aren't going to ask Dricus any questions. We're going to be talking about the Paramount deal. Dana White's going to be yapping, and Dricus is going to be sitting there waiting to beef with Chimaev. But yeah, I really hope it doesn't go like that. But yeah, hopefully we get some pretty massive moments at the press conference. You know, hopefully Dricus goes to MVP's dad. Um, People forget, man. MVP's dad. But yeah, that will do it, guys. Um, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers.